This video is about the mom sat inside the flower shop and a millionaire sat beside her. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The gentle jingle of the shop's doorbell broke the tranquil silence of petal and stem, a quaint little flower shop nestled in the heart of Willow Creek. Sunlight streamed through the large bay windows, casting a golden hue on the vibrant arrangements of roses, lilies, and sunflowers, each one blooming with life and color. Clara Morgan sat cross-legged on a plush armchair by the window, a knitting project resting in her lap. A single, wildflower patterned scarf was taking shape, though her mind drifted far from the rhythmic clicking of her needles. She glanced around the shop, taking in the delicate fragrances and the soft chatter of customers. As a single mother, Clara found solace in simple pleasures. Her green eyes danced with a reflection of her vivid imagination, a stark contrast to the weariness etched in the fine lines of her face. At 32, life had not been kind, yet Clara wore her struggles like a badge of honor. She had worked tirelessly to provide for her 9-year-old daughter, Sophie, who was the center of her universe. "Mom, can we get some flowers for my science project?" Sophie's voice broke Clara's reverie. The girl bounced in place, her curly hair bobbing with excitement. Clara smiled, the warmth of her daughter's enthusiasm melting away the weight of her worries. "Of course, sweet pea, how about we choose something that is also a little fun?" Clara replied, ruffling Sophie's hair affectionately. Just then, the door swung open, and in stepped a man who seemed to command the entire room with his presence. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, he was strikingly handsome, dark hair perfectly styled, deep-set blue eyes that sparkled with intelligence, and a confident gait that spoke of privilege. Clara felt an inexplicable pull towards him, though she quickly chastised herself for such thoughts. It wasn't her place to entertain fantasies of men like him. "Hello, can I help you?" the shopkeeper asked, smiling warmly. "I am looking for something special," the man replied, his voice smooth yet commanding. "Something that says, 'I am thinking of you,' but not in a clear way." Clara watched as his gaze scanned the displays, taking in the vibrant colors with an artist's eye. A flicker of admiration sparked within her, though she quickly buried it. Men like him, didn't he notice women like her, not single mothers struggling to make ends meet? "What about these?" Clara piped up unexpectedly, her voice tentative but clear. "Sunflowers always bring a smile. They reach cheerful and warm, just like the person receiving them." He turned to her, an amused smile playing at the corners of his lips. "And what if the person is particularly cynical? Do sunflowers still apply?" Her heart raced a little. Then ideas suggest a mix, something to offset the cynicism, maybe add in some daisies, they were innocent and straightforward. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "You think flowers can mend a jaded heart?" "Perhaps not mend," Clara replied thoughtfully, "but they can remind someone of the beauty and simplicity. Sometimes all it takes is a tiny spark to reignite joy." The man regarded her thoughtfully, as if weighing her words against the weight of his own experiences. "I like that," he said slowly. "What is your name?" Clara Morgan." "James Harrington." He extended his hand, and she hesitated for just a moment before taking it. His grip was firm yet gentle, sending an unexpected tingle up her arm. "Nice to meet you," she stammered, pulling her hand back as if shocked. Sophie, sensing the shift in energy, chimed in, "Are you buying flowers for someone special?" James knelt to Sophie's level, his blue eyes twinkling with mischief. Well, that is a secret, isn't it? But I am definitely trying to impress someone." Clara felt heat rise in her cheeks. Was it wrong to feel a flicker of jealousy? After all, she hardly knew him. "That is so cool," Sophie exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "Can I help?" "Why not?" James replied with a grin, his demeanor softening as he engaged with Sophie. The ease with which he spoke to her daughter was disarming, and Clara felt a mix of admiration and protectiveness. They wandered the shop together, Sophie taking the lead, picking up flowers and discussing their names with a childlike enthusiasm. Every now and then, Clara caught James's eye, and each glance seemed to linger just a heartbeat longer than necessary. "What do you do, Clara?" James asked, as they paused by a particularly stunning arrangement of peonies. "I am a freelance graphic designer," she answered, her voice steady despite the sudden flutter in her belly. "I work from home most days, which is nice, but it can get lonely." "I can imagine," he replied, eyes narrowing in thought. "Does that make you a bit of a hermit?" "More like a homebody," she shot back playfully. "I prefer the company of my knitting and my daughter's laughter." James chuckled, a rich sound that sent a little thrill through her. "And how is that working out for you?" Pretty well, actually. I am learning to balance creativity with the chaos of motherhood, she admitted, feeling unusually open. But sometimes I miss adult conversations. He tilted his head, studying her with a seriousness that felt oddly intimate. You deserve to enjoy life outside those walls. You were clearly bursting with creativity. You shouldn't hide it. She felt a spark of connection, a shared understanding beneath their playful banter. But just as quickly, doubt crept in. What would he know about her life? Maybe you were right, she said, breaking his gaze and returning her attention to the flowers. But it is complicated. Complicated usually means worth pursuing, he replied softly. Before Clara could respond, Sophie tugged at her sleeve. Look, Mom, these lilies are perfect. James straightened up, the moment dissipating like dew under the morning sun. Lilies it is, then, he said, grinning at Sophie. As they selected the flowers, Clara felt her heart tug between the allure of this captivating stranger and the comfort of her life as a mom. There was something magnetic about James, but she couldn't afford to get lost in daydreams. Finally, after much deliberation, James decided on a vibrant bouquet of sunflowers, daisies, and lilies, each flower symbolizing a different facet of warmth and affection. Thank you for the help, Clara, he said as they walked toward the counter. You made this much easier. Happy to help, she replied, a smile escaping her lips. But as he paid for the flowers, a small pang of regret settled in her chest. Maybe I could take you out for coffee sometime, to share more about your life as a hermit, he joked, a flicker of mischief in his eyes. Coffee? Clara's heart raced, but hesitation wrapped around her tongue. That is. Only if you want to, he interrupted gently, sensing her uncertainty. No pressure, but I'd like to hear more about your creative endeavors. You have a spark. I'll think about it, she managed, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Good, I'll hold you to that. He grinned, and the warmth in his smile sent butterflies fluttering through her stomach. As Clara watched him leave the shop, bouquet in hand, she felt the rush of emotion sweep over her. What had just happened? In a matter of minutes, her mundane day had transformed into something extraordinary. But the grip of reality pulled her back, the weight of responsibilities and the quiet loneliness that she had grown accustomed to. As she turned to Sophie, the innocence in her daughter's eyes reminded Clara that she was a mother first. Did you like him, Mom? Sophie asked, her voice bright with curiosity. That I don't know, sweetie, Clara replied, her heart still racing. He was just a customer. Just a customer? Sophie giggled, eyes sparkling with mischief. I think he liked you. You should go grab coffee. Clara chuckled softly, ruffling her daughter's hair again. Let us just focus on picking the right flowers for your project, okay? But as they selected the blooms, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that their chance encounter was just the beginning. A flutter of hope danced in her chest, igniting a spark she had long thought extinguished. Unbeknownst to her, James stood outside the shop, watching through the window, a smile lingering on his lips. The connection had been electric, not just with Clara, but between them all. Sophie's laughter, Clara's warmth, the unspoken promise of what could be. He turned away reluctantly, but as he stepped into the bustling street, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment might just lead to something groundbreaking. The day after their unexpected encounter, petal and stem, Clara woke with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation swelling in her chest. The early morning light streamed through the curtains, illuminating the small bedroom she shared with Sophie. Clara's knitting needles lay beside her, testament to the hours spent creating in the peace of night. But today, her thoughts were tangled in the fleeting connection she felt with James Harrington. She rolled over and glanced at her daughter, blissfully asleep with her wild curls splayed in every direction. For a moment, Clara smiled, grateful for the joy Sophie brought to her life. But a pang of guilt washed over her as she remembered the handsome stranger who had dared to make her heart flutter. What did she know about him? He was a millionaire, and she was just a single mom trying to make ends meet. Mom. Sophie's sleepy voice broke through her thoughts, and Clara turned to see her daughter rubbing her eyes. Can we have pancakes today? Of course, sweet pea, Clara replied, rising to her feet. The kitchen was small but cozy, filled with the scent of coffee brewing and the promise of the day. As she flipped pancakes, her mind wandered to James's invitation for coffee. Had he truly meant it, or was it a fleeting whim? After breakfast, they made their way to school, with Sophie chattering animatedly about her science project. Clara smiled, allowing the warm glow of her daughter's enthusiasm to drown out the doubts creeping in. But as she walked home, Clara felt the weight of uncertainty settle around her. Should she reach out to James? What if he was just being polite? By the time they arrived back home, her thoughts were a chaotic mess. She found herself pacing the small living room, her knitting project forgotten. Just as she was about to dismiss the idea of reaching out, her phone buzzed on the table. Her heart quickened as she saw a text from an unknown number. "Hey Clara, it's James from the flower shop. Just wanted to say I hope you and Sophie found the perfect flowers for your project." A rush of warmth spread through her. Clara stared at the screen, the tension in her chest giving way to excitement. Should she respond? What would she even say? "Hi James, we did find some lovely flowers. Thanks, Sophie is really excited about her project." She hit send before she could think twice. Moments passed like hours before her phone chimed again. "Glad to hear it. I was wondering if you'd like to grab that coffee sometime. No pressure, just thought it might be nice." Clara felt a rush of exhilaration but also dread. Could she really let herself be swept into something like this? With a deep breath, she typed back, "I'd like that. How about Saturday?" "Perfect, I'll pick you up at 10. Looking forward to it." After a brief moment of disbelief, Clara sat back on the couch, her heart racing. It was happening. She was taking a leap outside her comfort zone. The flutter of anticipation was soon overshadowed by the familiar weight of doubt. Would she be enough for someone like him? Saturday arrived with a crispness in the air that hinted at the arrival of autumn. Clara stood in front of the mirror, anxiously adjusting the floral print dress she had chosen. She felt both excited and nervous, her stomach churning with the possibility of what this meeting might hold. "Mom, you look so pretty," Sophie exclaimed when Clara stepped into the living room. Clara chuckled, brushing a hand through her hair. "Thank you, sweet pea. Are you ready for your big science presentation?" Sophie nodded vigorously. "Yeah, I'll come home and tell you everything." As Clara stepped outside, she was greeted by the sight of James leaning against his sleek black car, looking effortlessly charming in dark jeans and a fitted shirt that accentuated his build. He looked up and smiled, the kind of smile that made her heart leap. "Wow, you look incredible," James said, genuine admiration in his voice. Clara felt her cheeks flush under the compliment. "Thank you. You're not looking too shabby yourself." He laughed, the sound rich and warm. "Shall we?" He opened the car door for her, a small gesture that sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. The drive was filled with light conversation, and Clara found herself relaxing. James asked about Sophie, and Clara shared stories of their adventures together. With every word, the tension began to dissolve. "So, what do you enjoy doing other than being an amazing mom?" he asked, glancing her way. "I love to create knitting, graphic design, anything artistic, really. It's my escape," Clara replied, feeling the warmth of his attention. "What about you? What do you do when you're not charming flower shop patrons?" "I run a tech startup," he replied, a hint of pride in his tone. "It is demanding, but I love it. I enjoy building things, seeing ideas come to life." "Sounds thrilling," Clara said, intrigued. "What is the best part?" He paused, his expression thoughtful. "Honestly, the people I work with. Building a team that shares the vision is what drives me. It is what makes it all worthwhile." Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the world outside faded. Clara felt a rush of connection, something deeper than simple attraction. "Here we are," James said, breaking the spell as they pulled into a quaint cafe adorned with ivy. As they settled into their seats, the ambience was perfect, soft music playing, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee lingering in the air. Clara took a sip of her latte, suddenly feeling brave. "So, what is the real reason you wanted to impress someone with flowers?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. James leaned back in his chair, a smirk dancing on his lips. "Maybe I just wanted a reason to talk to you." Clara's heart fluttered. "Is that so?" He nodded, his eyes locking onto hers with intensity. "I sense something special about you, Clara. You're not what I expected." "How do you mean?" she asked, momentarily forgetting her nerves. "Most people I interact with are superficial, but you have depth, warmth. You don't hide behind your success or wealth." Her heart raced at his words. Did he truly see her? The moment hung between them, charged with unspoken tension. Clara felt a flicker of fear. What if he was just being kind? "You've had a lot of experience, I gather," she responded, taking a sip of her drink to steady herself. "Life has been a roller coaster," he admitted, his tone shifting slightly. "But I've learned that connections matter more than anything else." "Connections," Clara echoed, reflecting on her solitary journey. "Everything feels so complicated sometimes." "It can be," he nodded. "But isn't it worth exploring even the complicated stuff?" Clara's breath caught in her throat. "I suppose so, but it's terrifying." "Good things often are." James leaned in closer, a spark igniting between them. I am not asking for anything more than a chance to get to know you better, no pressure. The sincerity in his eyes made her pulse quicken. Clara felt a mix of longing and fear. Could she allow herself to open up to him? She wanted to so desperately, but was she ready to risk it all again? Just then, her phone buzzed on the table. Clara glanced down to see a message from Sophie. "How is it going? Did you like him?" Clara chuckled under her breath, her cheeks flushing. James raised an eyebrow, curiosity glimmering in his eyes. "I think my daughter might be a little too invested in my life," Clara admitted, smiling. "Kids have a knack for seeing right through us," he said with a soft laugh. "What does she think of me?" "She thinks you like me," Clara replied, her tone light but her heart heavy with the weight of truth. "Do you think I do?" he asked, his expression earnest. She started, but the moment was interrupted as James's phone buzzed, pulling his attention away. He glanced down, his demeanor shifting slightly. "I need to take this, just a moment." Clara watched as he stepped away to take the call, a flicker of uncertainty creeping in. Was he really interested in her, or was this just a game for him? As she fiddled with her cup, her heart sank as she tried to decipher his true intentions. When James returned, the atmosphere felt subtly altered, like a thread had been pulled. "Everything okay?" Clara asked, masking her unease. "It just work stuff," he replied, his expression slightly guarded. "I am sorry about that." She nodded, attempting to shake off the disappointment. "No worries, it happens." James leaned forward, his tone earnest. "I really enjoy being here with you, Clara. I hope you know that." Clara swallowed hard, the intensity of his gaze igniting a flicker of hope. "I am glad. Honestly, I am." The conversation flowed again, but Clara couldn't shake the feeling of doubt gnawing at her. Every laugh, every share of glance felt. Part 3. The conversation flowed like a gentle river as Clara and James settled into the cozy cafe. They spoke about everything and nothing, weaving in and out of topics like seasoned dancers navigating a familiar ballroom. Yet, beneath the surface of their light-hearted banter, an undercurrent of tension simmered, each glance lingering just a moment too long, every laugh echoing with unspoken words. Clara found herself lost in his blue eyes, their depth reflecting a world she had almost forgotten existed. The thought of opening herself up to him was both exhilarating and terrifying. She had been alone for so long, focusing solely on Sophie and her work, that the idea of expanding her heart felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap but unsure of what awaited her below. "So, tell me more about your life as a hermit," James teased, his lips curving into a playful grin. "What do you do when you reunite charming children with your flower expertise?" Clara chuckled, grateful for his lightheartedness. "Well, I knit a lot, as you might guess. I also binge-watch more shows than I'd like to admit." "Ah, the classic hermit lifestyle," he replied, his tone exaggeratedly dramatic. "Do you have a favorite show?" "Honestly, I've always loved the Great British Bake Off. There is something soothing about watching people create beautiful pastries under pressure. I suppose I admire their artistry," she confessed, her fingers tracing the rim of her cup. "Baking and knitting, two arts that require a certain patience," he mused, leaning in slightly, his interest piqued. "How do you balance the two with raising Sophie?" "It is not easy," Clara said, her voice dipping a little. "There are days when I feel pulled in a million directions, but I try to make time for both. It keeps me grounded." "Grounded is good," he replied, his gaze piercing through her. "But it is also good to let loose sometimes, to allow yourself to be swept away." His words resonated within her, stirring something deep and dormant. For so long, she had been the anchor in her own life, weathering storms alone. Could she really allow someone else to share that burden? "Maybe," she said, slowly, cautious. "But letting go is easier said than done." James studied her for a moment, his expression shifting to something more serious. "Clara, I am not here to complicate your life. I am just genuinely interested in getting to know you better. I hope that is okay." Her heart fluttered at the sincerity in his voice. "It is, She paused, struggling to articulate her thoughts. "I don't want to jump into something that could hurt either of us." "Then let us take it slow," he suggested softly. "But let us not ignore the chemistry that is clearly here." Just then, the door to the cafe swung open, and a gust of wind whisked in, swirling around them like an omen. A couple entered, laughing, their arms entwined, and Clara couldn't help but feel a pang of longing mixed with a tinge of envy. She stole a glance at James, who had turned his attention to the couple, a shadow passing over his face. "What is wrong?" she asked, concerned by the sudden shift in his mood. He hesitated, as if weighing his response. "Nothing really," he replied, but the tightness around his lips betrayed him. just reflecting on what it means to share your life with someone. The air thickened with unspoken tension, and Clara's heart sank slightly. Had she misread his intentions? Was he merely seeking companionship, or was there something more? James, she started, but he cut her off gently. Could we take a moment? He said, his voice low but firm. I don't want to rush this. I enjoy talking to you, but I need to be transparent. I don't want to lead you on. Clara felt a flush of warmth creep up her neck. I appreciate that. I am just trying to navigate my feelings here. It's been a while since I've reconnected with someone, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Me too, he said, the weight of his words hanging between them. It is refreshing to meet someone who isn't dazzled by the glitz, you regrounded, and that is rare in my world. Your world? She arched an eyebrow, intrigued. What does that mean? Let us just say a tech world can be overwhelming. It is easy to forget what is real when surrounded by wealth and ambition, he confessed, his expression softening. But you remind me of what truly matters. A flicker of hope ignited within her. And what matters to you, James? He leaned closer, his voice dropped into almost a whisper. Authenticity, connection, the simple beauty of shared moments. Clara's breath hitched, the intensity of his gaze igniting a fire within her. I want to believe that, she murmured, her heart racing at the closeness between them. The moment stretched thick with tension. Just as Clara felt the urge to close the gap between them, a sudden raucous laughter erupted from the couple at the nearby table, jolting her back to reality. She shifted in her seat, the warmth of their moment dissipating like steam from a freshly poured cup. Let us talk about something lighter, James suggested, his voice regaining its playful lilt. What is your happiest memory with Sophie? Clara smiled, grateful for the pivot. Though there are so many, but I think the day we built the blanket fort and watched movies together is up there. We made popcorn and laughed until our sides hurt. James chuckled, clearly charmed by the image. A classic, I can see why you treasure that. It is those moments that stick with us. Exactly. Life can get so heavy sometimes, but it is those little snippets of joy that keep us going, she replied, her heart warming at the memory. What about you? What is your happiest moment? He paused, a contemplative look crossing his face. It might sound cheesy, but I think it was when I hired my first employee. I was so nervous, but when he believed in the vision, it felt like a little victory. That is not cheesy at all. It is inspiring, Clara said, feeling the connection deepen. It must be rewarding to see your ideas come to life with a team. It is, he affirmed, the weight of his responsibilities evident in his eyes. But sometimes I wonder if I am losing touch with what really matters. I want to build a legacy, but I don't want to sacrifice personal happiness for it. Finding that balance is tricky. I often wonder if I am doing enough for Sophie while juggling everything, Clara admitted, her heart heavy with the familiar worries. Just then, James's phone buzzed again, pulling his attention away from what felt like the emptying time. Clara felt her stomach knot instinctively, a flicker of jealousy igniting at the thought of him being pulled back into his world of obligations. Sorry, I need to take this, he said, his voice apologetic. Sure, she replied, forcing a smile. But the facade felt brittle, as if every word was a layer of armor she couldn't quite maintain. As he stepped away, Clara's mind raced. Was there truly something special blooming between them, or was it just an illusion? Each moment they spent together felt electric, yet the interruptions left a lingering doubt. When James returned, the warmth in his eyes was dampened, a carefree energy replacing the intensity that had filled the space between them. Everything okay? Clara asked, her heart sinking at the shift. Just work, he replied, the hint of distance in his voice making her ache. Okay, she said softly, fighting the urge to retreat. I understand. Let us not let that ruin our time, he suggested, attempting to regain the lightness. But Clara could sense the tension behind the forced smile. Right, Clara said, her heart wavering. What is your favorite thing about your job? He paused, the question seeming to weigh heavily. Building products that make a difference, but sometimes it feels like I am just chasing numbers. The honesty in his words resonated with her. That is understandable. It is easy to lose sight of the reasons we started something in the first place. Exactly, he said, leaning back with a sigh. Let us shift gears. What is your dream destination, Clara? Oh, I've always wanted to visit Paris, she admitted, her voice wistful. The art, the culture, it is a place steeped in creativity. I can see that, he said, a twinkle returning to his eyes. What would you do there? I'd wander through museums, sit at cafes, and sketch the Eiffel Tower, she replied, her excitement bubbling over. Just soak it all in. Sounds like the perfect escape, he agreed, a hint of admiration in his voice. And once you've soaked it in, what would you want to do? Create something beautiful, she said, her heart swelling at the idea. As the conversation drifted into dreams and distant lands, Clara's heart felt both buoyant and heavy, like a balloon caught between soaring heights and gravity's pull. James leaned in closer, genuinely engaged, and she found comfort in the space between them, a space charged with possibilities. Paris seems magical, he said, his voice low, as if they were sharing a secret. What if I join you? I could be your handsome tour guide. Clara laughed, her nerves momentarily forgotten. Oh really? Aren't you too busy with tech startups and million-dollar deals to frolic around Paris? Touch, he replied, feigning a dramatic sigh. But I could make an exception for you. After all, who wouldn't you want to chase after art with a talented graphic designer? She felt her cheeks flush with warmth. I am not that talented, she protested, though deep down a flicker of pride sparkled. Was he really interested in her artistry, or was this just part of his charm? Trust me, you are, he countered, conviction lacing his words. Art isn't just about talent, it is about perspective. I see that in you, it shines through your passion. Clara's heart raced at his sincerity, but a doubt nagged at her. You hardly know me, James. What if I am just an ordinary woman with delusions of grandeur? Ordinary? He shook his head, his blue eyes intensifying with an earnestness that knocked her breath away. You were anything but ordinary. The way you spoke about flowers, life, and your daughter, it is refreshing. The warmth of his gaze made her stomach flutter, but the weight of their differences loomed large in her mind. What did he see in a woman like her? You have a life that seems so extravagant. I am just a single mom trying to make ends meet. And that is admirable, he replied, his voice steady. Every success story is built on struggles that shape us. I respect that. The moment felt electric. Clara wanted to lean closer, to close the gap between them, but fear of revealing too much held her back. But what if this doesn't work out? What if I am not what you need? Then we'll part as friends, he said simply, his tone unwavering. But let's not let fear dictate our connection. How about we take it one step at a time? Sounds reasonable, she replied, though a swell of hesitation still danced in her chest. But I can't help but think, what will Sophie think of you? He smiled, a soft yet playful expression. I hope she'll like me. I have a pretty great track record with kids thanks to charm and bribery by way of candy. Clara laughed, her heart lightening. I'll keep that in mind for our next outing, but in all seriousness, she is protective of me. Understandably so. She is your world. James nodded, his expression softening. But I like that about you. You are fiercely devoted, and that is a strength. Thank you, Clara said, touched. But beneath the surface, doubt still simmered. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was a world unto himself, as she was merely a fleeting moment in his otherwise grand life. The conversation flowed with ease, but Clara couldn't ignore the occasional flicker of distraction in James's eyes. She sensed the pull of his responsibilities looming behind their light-hearted exchange. Each time his phone buzzed, she felt an unsettling shift, as if reality was barging in on their beautiful moment. Everything okay? She asked, trying to mask the concern creeping into her voice. Just a few things to handle, he replied, running a hand through his hair, a gesture she found oddly endearing. I promise it won't take long. Take your time, Clara said, forcing herself to smile. She appreciated his openness, but felt a pang of jealousy rise again. Was he truly present, or was his mind somewhere else entirely? As he stepped away to take another call, Clara found herself staring into her cup, swirling the remnants of her drink. She couldn't help but wonder how long this distraction would last. Would it always be this way, caught between his world and her own? When he returned, she caught sight of the tension in his shoulders, a weariness that made her heart ache. Sorry about that, work is relentless, he said, sitting down with an apologetic smile. I understand. It is part of your world, right? Clara replied, her tone light but her heart heavy. How do you manage it all? Honestly, I don't always manage it well, he admitted, his gaze dropping momentarily. There are days I wish I could escape it all, just like you want to escape to Paris. I guess we both have our dreams, she said softly, feeling a newfound sense of camaraderie. The dreams are important, he replied earnestly, but they shouldn't come at the expense of genuine connections. The sincerity in his eyes made her pulse quicken. Clara wanted to reach out and tell him how much she desired that connection, but a flicker of self-doubt held her back. I just don't want to get carried away, she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. Then let us not, he said, and there was a softness in his tone that made her heart ache. We'll take our time. I am here, and I enjoy being with you. There was a moment where silence enveloped them, thick with unspoken words, and Clara felt herself leaning closer. She caught a hint of his cologne, fresh and intoxicating, and her heart raced. Let us change gears, she suggested, desperate to dispel the tension. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? He chuckled, clearly amused. That is a fun question. I'd probably say Steve Jobs. I'd love to pick his brain about creativity and innovation. A great choice, Clara said, impressed. What would you ask him? Honestly, I'd want to know how he balanced his vision with his personal life. It is a tough act, he replied thoughtfully. You're not just a pretty face, are you? She teased, enjoying the back and forth. Ah, but you're the one knitting and designing. You're the true artist here, he bantered back, a playful glint in his eyes. Their laugh rang through the cafe, and Clara felt the tension ease, like a gentle tide receding from the shore. In those moments, she saw glimpses of the man behind the millionaire facade, the man who could laugh, who could be vulnerable, who could care. But a flicker of doubt still gnawed at her. What if I am not enough for you? What if you meet someone who fits your world better? Clara, he said, his tone serious, I am here because I want to be, not because I am searching for someone else. I am enjoying this connection we're rebuilding. Her heart warmed at his words, yet a shadow of insecurity loomed. But we come from different worlds. Maybe, he said, leaning in, his gaze unwavering. But that doesn't mean we can find common ground. You're intelligent, creative, and you care deeply about the people in your life. That is what matters. Clara met his gaze, feeling the weight of his sincerity. Thank you for saying that. I guess I need to remind myself of my worth sometimes. Don't sell yourself short, Clara, he said, his voice earnest. You're one of the most genuine people I've met. The moment hung between them, thick with possibility, and Clara felt her heart pound in her chest. Was she really ready to embrace this connection, to risk everything she had built in her life for something that held the promise of joy? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, startling them both. A server hurried past, an apologetic look in her eyes, and Clara couldn't help but chuckle. Seems like even the cafe has its chaotic moments. James laughed, the tension between them dissipating once more. I am glad we were not the only ones making a mess of things. True, Clara replied, feeling her spirits lift. Life is a little chaotic, after all. Exactly, he agreed, his eyes sparkling. And it is those messy moments that make it worthwhile. As their laughter faded, a comfortable silence enveloped them. Clara felt a sense of peace wash over her, a realization that maybe, just maybe, she could allow herself to seek something more with James. Can I ask you something? He said, suddenly, his tone shifting. Of course, Clara replied, her heart racing again. What is your biggest fear? The question hung heavily, and Clara hesitated. It is losing myself, she admitted, vulnerability creeping into her voice. I've been so focused on being a good mom and providing for Sophie that I fear I'll forget who I am. James's expression softened, and he leaned closer. I get that. It is easy to lose sight of yourself, especially when you read juggling so much. Do you ever feel that way? She asked, feeling the raw honesty between them.